So yeah, everything eventually ends. And Squid Game, one of the longest hyped series in the streaming world, has finally wrapped up. And don't worry, this is a spoiler-free review. It's strange saying that out loud. For a show that kicked off such a massive cultural wave back in 2021, this feels like the end of a long and complicated ride. If you've been following since Season 1, then of course you were going to check out Season 3. At this point, it's not even about curiosity, it's about closure. You want to know how it all ends, and in some ways, it does. The story does come to a close, but it's not exactly the ending we might have expected when this journey first began. Even before this season dropped, there were reports floating around that the creators initially intended to finish the whole story within Season 2. That alone kind of tells you something. What plays out across Seasons 2 and 3 was actually meant to be wrapped up much earlier, but due to production decisions, market hype, or maybe just Netflix being Netflix, the story got stretched out. And yeah, you definitely feel that stretch. The filler is real. It was clear in Season 2, and it sticks out again in Season 3. Now, to be fair, they did try to tighten things up this time. Season 3 only has 6 episodes. It's quick, over before you even realize it, but it doesn't feel like a brand new arc. It's more of a continuation. Season 2 ended on a pretty big cliffhanger, so naturally, Season 3 picks things up from that exact point. The tone stays consistent, the direction stays the same, and just like in the previous seasons, new games are introduced, and there's some effort to raise the stakes. But the core story hasn't shifted. Gi-hun is still on the island, still chasing his goal of shutting the game down for good. The show tries to answer whether or not he'll actually succeed. But without spoiling anything, I'll just say the resolution feels functional, not necessarily satisfying. Let's back up for a second. Season 3 picks up right after the failed rebellion from Season 2. Gi-hun is still alive, barely hanging on after losing most of the people he trusted. There's this weight he carries from all the deaths, especially Yungbei, and the guilt just piles up. You can tell he's not the same guy anymore. His silence, his anger, the way he looks at the game, it all hits different now. And while this season does introduce new challenges, what really hits hard is the emotional toll. It almost feels like a callback to the marbles game from Season 1. Quiet, personal, and painful. But this time, something changes in Gi-hun. Not because he wants it to, but because he's pushed to a breaking point. There's this one moment where he makes a choice that you wouldn't expect from him back in Season 1. And it's jarring. That whole, "I'm going to shut down the game's mission" starts to fade out. Instead, you start seeing him get wrapped up in blame, in survival, in anger, especially toward Daeho, who, honestly, kinda deserves it. But the story stops being about revenge or justice. It becomes something darker. And the wildest part? Even the VIPs seem confused this season. The decisions being made? Total chaos. Rules change mid-game, players get eliminated unfairly. It's all over the place. But maybe that's the point. This show has always been about power, how the people on top bend the system however they want, just to stay entertained. Season 3 really leans into that idea harder than ever before. It feels broken, but that brokenness feels intentional. And honestly, while Season 3 doesn't recapture the magic of Season 1, it's also not as disappointing as Season 2 felt. Season 2 dragged hard in places, almost like it was trying to delay the actual story just to stretch its runtime. Remember all those yes or no votes? That entire storyline felt unnecessary, especially when everyone watching already knew the game would continue. There weren't even real games in the middle of that season, just characters walking around talking about rules and alliances and politics. It was like a budget version of Survivor, but with none of the tension. The difference between Season 1 and what came after is that Season 1 made everything matter. Every death, every decision, every twist hit emotionally. It all meant something, but by the end of Season 3, that weight is mostly gone. Sure, there are character moments and dramatic turns, but they don't carry the same emotional punch. Some scenes are clearly meant to shock you or move you, but they land without much impact. Not because they're poorly written, but because the emotional connection just isn't there anymore. One of the biggest letdowns for me personally was how they handled the frontman arc. Back Back in Season 2, the show set up this tension between him and Gi-hun that felt like it would explode in a major way. And when the truth finally comes out in Season 3, it falls completely flat. All that buildup, all those complex layers, just gone in a matter of minutes. It's a missed opportunity. A lot of Season 2's subplots end up meaning nothing by the time we reach the finale. Characters that seemed important vanish without payoff, and twists that should have been huge just come and go. And then there's the weird detour Season 3 takes at one point. Suddenly, we're in the middle of a child custody subplot. Like, what? How did we get here? The show that once gave us the most intense game of red light, green light, now has scenes that feel like they're pulled from a family drama. It doesn't ruin the show, but it definitely messes with the tone. You can feel the writer just trying to tie things up in whatever way they can. Still, I won't say that Season 2 and 3 were bad. They were fine. They just never reached the level of craft that Season 1 had. Back then, every scene felt thought out, every character had a purpose, and every moment pushed the story forward. But in these last 2 seasons, it feels like the creators were more focused on wrapping things up than truly evolving the world they built. It's like you can sense them saying, "All right, let's just finish this already." Also, the villains. Season 1 had a clear, cold antagonist that really made your blood boil. Season 2 tried to get philosophical, almost Thanos-level vibes. And in Season 3, they introduce yet another new villain. But without proper build-up, this character just doesn't land. No real menace, no iconic moment. It feels like a last-minute addition rather than a planned finale. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you've already watched Season 1 and 2, you're probably going to finish Season 3 just to see how it ends. That's fair, but if you're someone who only watched Season 1 and you're on the fence about continuing, I'd say it's okay to stop where you are. You won't be missing much emotionally. Season 1 still works as a powerful standalone. That said, what really excites me right now isn't Season 3, it's what's coming next. We're getting Squid Game, USA, and it's being directed by none other than David Fincher. Yeah, that David Fincher, the guy behind Fight Club, Zodiac, Mindhunter, and The Social Network. If anyone can bring a fresh, dark, and psychologically intense take to the Squid Game universe, it's him. And I seriously hope this new series takes a totally different direction. Change the structure, the tone, even the aesthetic. Don't just remake the original with different actors. Give us something new, something brutal, something beautiful, something Fincher. Anyway, that's where I stand on Squid Game Season 3. Not a terrible ending, just not the ending I hoped for. Let me know what you guys thought. Did it work for you? Or did it leave you wanting more? Drop a comment, hit that like if you agree, or even if you don't. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.